What's going on, Instagram? What's going on? Enjoying a beautiful Saturday afternoon here in the East Coast. I'm going to show you what we got going on here. Beautiful sky. The past couple of days have been cloudy, cold, rainy. So we're due for some good weather. So today I'm excited because we're actually going to have, Andrea, let's see, Randy is going to be joining us. I'm going to introduce Randy join us here, but I'm excited because Randy is one of those entrepreneurs out there that you need to connect with. And I'm committed to make sure that I'm bringing you the guys who are the fucking players. What's going on, Randy? What's happening, brother?
Hey, Raul, what's up, my man? How you been?
All right, so let me introduce you, man. Randy is a badass. I mean, I met Randy. So you know the story. I met Randy at a Navy SEAL training in San Diego about almost a year ago, and he was the only one in there that was holding it down, man. He was holding it down with me. We were grinding together. We were eating sand together. We were kicking ass. The Navy SEALs were looking at him, and I said, "Who the fuck is this guy? Who the fuck is this guy?" So that's how you know that you're rolling with the best, man.
I love it, bro. Dude, it's so good to see you. You look amazing.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, man. So, man, you're a New York Times bestseller. You're the coach of coaches. I mean, if you guys don't know Randy, you got to connect with Randy because, you know, he's behind some of the biggest brands out there. Brandon Bouchard, Dhingra CEO, all those guys. I mean, you're the guy behind the brands, man. So I appreciate you taking your time.
Dude, they're just great friends, man. They're amazing. They're amazing.
Awesome, brother. So I wanted to bring you in, Randy, because I want the guys in here in the live to ask some questions. Now is the time that we could give value back, that we could actually answer some questions, whether it's about business, whether it's about branding, whether it's about story. But the main topic that I want Randy to touch on is how do we keep the faith in times of crisis? How do we start to believe in miracles in times of crisis? Because that's one thing, Randy, I've been experiencing right now, man, miracles. Fucking miracles, brother, because I don't know if you know that we got the coronavirus. My wife and I were sick, and we got the virus about 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, we actually got better, but she's still recuperating. She's still going through some challenges. And every day, man, I'm praying for miracles, man. Every day I'm praying for miracles. So talk to us about how do we start believing in miracles in times of crisis?
You know, it's interesting because I literally just got off another podcast just talking about this same exact topic. And this is a time where I think our eyes are being opened to actually some of the miracles that are already around us, to be honest with you, Raul. You know, I grew up in Idaho. I grew up on a farm and I grew up on a ranch, and you know, we ran out of milk the other day in our house. My kids are like, well, who's going to go get the milk? You know, I'm like, well, when I was growing up, we had to go out and milk the cow. And when we ran out of milk, we had to go out to the field and get old Blackie and get it done. So it's been actually really interesting to think about all the blessings that are around us. And I think I wake up and I try to expect miracles, Raul. I think we have to be careful what thoughts we catch. We can catch a cold. I mean, you guys caught the coronavirus. Thank goodness you're alive and doing amazing. I'm so grateful, bro. I mean, I'm so grateful for you and your wife. For me, that's a miracle, you know? And we have to be careful for what we put into our heads, because we can create our own miracles. And then when we involve God in those miracles, I mean, then you'll just see amazing stuff happen in your life.
You know, one thing that I was telling my wife just this morning, like, this crisis has really got me closer to God than any other time in my life. And I don't know if it's timing. We just finished a leadership summit right before the Corona lockdown here in New York. And I was talking from stage about my faith. I was talking from stage about like how I'm feeling connected more than ever to a higher version of myself, to God, and to actually, you know, Jesus, you know, to actually acknowledge my Christianity, acknowledge, you know, it's not that I've ever been ashamed of it or hide it. It's just that for me, I mean, I grew up a Seventh-day Adventist elder in the church, you know, so I've been 20 plus years in the church, but the past 5 years, I kind of created my own church, you know, created my own experience. But I think it's time for us to get back to our basics, get back to our core, you know, especially now in these holidays. Like, Jesus is working miracles through our lives, brother. Like when I was with a high fever, when I was, thinking that my chest, I couldn't breathe. One of the things that I had a conversation with God, and I asked him, I said, like, heal me. And then one of the things he said, like, why do you want to live? Why should I spare you? Why should I heal you? And then, like, it came to me, like, fuck, like, aren't you supposed to be God? Like, are you supposed to just create miracles? No, not just because you're asking, you're going to receive. Why? Why do you want to live? Why do you want to be successful? Why do you want to create an impact? Why do you want to share your story? And I think that's where God is really calling us to ask ourselves those deeper questions. Why do we do the shit that we do?
Well, and it's amazing, Raul. And I know, I've met, and honestly, we had a great affection for each other right there. We like had a brotherhood, bro. I really do feel that. And I'm so glad to be on today. But I think we have to expect miracles in our life. I believe in a God that doesn't want us to, he wants us to do well in all that we do. And, when he says that I will make your burdens light, it doesn't mean that he's going to take away the burdens, coach. It doesn't mean that they're going to be there. And even if you look at the Savior's life, like, I mean, he told his apostles, it's going to be dark for 3 days. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard for me for a little bit, but I'm going to come through this on the other side. And so I think things like this, and I'm not saying that the coronavirus was meant for us to really recognize God, but I'm saying, you know what, just like you, I have witnessed little tiny miracles in my life that sometimes we don't see the miracle in the mundane. If we get too comfortable and so, just like, I think if Moses would have seen the cell phones and he could communicate with all of his people, millions of people around the world, that would have been a crazy miracle. It would have been a thing like aliens came down and gave him this device or whatever. So we have to be careful in our lives that that our eyes are opened and we see the miracles that are happening every single day. For me, that's happened a lot. And I am a God-fearing man. Like, I have great faith. Like, I think for me, I've prayed deeper. I've prayed harder for guidance at this time than ever before.
And that's exactly my point, man. Some of my guys who I coach, we always have this word about the voice, right? I always want to be respectful for everyone's religion and everyone's belief. So we talk about the voice and the voice inside of us. And then at the last leadership experience, I acknowledged that the voice was Jesus speaking through us, right? That there is like, we gotta really get real. And when we started realizing that the more we humble ourselves, because that's one of the passages that I read, is like, if my people humble themselves, I will deliver them. And I think that's right now, it's a humbling experience, man, because when I was with a high fever, when my wife is sick, none of this shit mattered. Like, my business didn't matter. My followers didn't fucking matter. Nothing mattered. None of that, the things that we think that are important matter. What matters is really, have we lived a purpose life? Have we made an impact? Have we actually done, at the end of the day, the things that we were created for? And that's what really resonated with me. And looking at your life, is really truly being a servant. Being a servant. Right now, leadership is being called to fucking serve. And and I curse a lot, and I know God is okay with it. We're gonna have a conversation, once in a while with my cursing.
We can work on that too, Raul. We'll be good, dude. It's good.
Oh man, we have some conversation with God, man. It's like him and I will go, really battle together. But that's a relationship. I think that everyone has, like, there is not one perfect human being. And I think that's where the illusion of perfection is what's causing the virus. It causes this fear.
Oh, bro, I am so with you on that. Like, I think that's what being humble means, is that we do recognize the hand of God in our daily life. And I have been on, I coach, I work with a lot of CEOs, and we take high performance to companies, and the biggest thing is, the number one habit is to seek clarity. You want me to give you a tip that works for me? So I've got 6 kids. I've got 2 sets of twins. I've got an amazing wife like you. I was so blessed to have the awesome wife that I've got. I mean, I don't even know how she puts up with me. I'm the chief party officer at her house. I'm the CPO. But here's what I try to do. And I always say, you know, you can catch a thought. So for me to try to have joy through the journey, I try not to get caught up in all of the trials and tribulations. And I say, like, dude, embrace the struggle, embrace the suck, because this is just making me stronger and it's making me a warrior. But here's the simple tactics for anybody that's listening on here that really help me is I try to ensure that you've got to be so careful as you catch a thought. Like, are you listening to the news first thing and watching what destruction just happened? Or are you expecting miracles? You know, what are your focus on? Are you listening to fake news, bad news, crazy news, CNN, Fox, MSNBC? Like, it's all stirring up, like it's all coming to an end, it's over. I mean, we're starting to see some miracles now. My thing is like, are you spending time in the good news? And for me, the good news is the gospel. The good news for me is personal development books that help me want to do more and be more. For me, the good news is sitting down on my hands and who needs me today? Like, who needs me today that I can go serve and get out of my own crazy problems and my own crazy ways? And who do I need to go lift and build today? Because I guarantee there's people out there that have it way worse than I do. And I get a perspective from the good news. And I fill my heart and my mind and my soul with goodness, bro.
I think at the end, that's exactly what God wants us to do, is just to fill ourselves with the good news, meaning you're alive. That's good fucking news. You're alive. And as long as you're breathing, as long as you have energy, then what you do with that energy, what you do with that belief, that's what matters. And every single day, like Randy, I've had this practice for the past almost 10 years, right? Really tapping into the gratitude. Yeah. And then also tapping into the worst case scenario. Also tapping into like what could go wrong, like what I fear the most. Right. And I haven't heard anybody teach this, but I go into a dark place every morning, from gratitude to a dark place, because I need contrast. Right. And one of my biggest fear has been my kids getting sick, my wife getting sick. That has been like really when I felt that, like, if I imagine my wife or my kids getting sick, like that fucking pains me. That helped me build enough.
And she did get sick. And that's, you guys both got it.
We both got sick, and that right there is kind of like my worst nightmare became true. My worst nightmare became true. But if I didn't have that emotional intelligence, if I didn't have that faith, it would have destroyed me. It would destroy me. It would have taken me longer to recoup. So it's just, you know, if anybody's listening right now, like, just because you have a belief with God or you have a relationship with God doesn't mean that shit's going to be easy. It doesn't mean that it's going to be all bed of roses. It's actually the opposite sometimes. It's being a servant sometimes is harder than just being a follower. Being a leader sometimes is harder than just staying with a negative. It's easier just to write a negative. It's easier to blame somebody. It's easier just to do the shit that everybody else does. Like, going against the fucking grain is hard.
You know, and one of my favorite stories about that, I mean, is in the Old Testament. We all know, like, David and Goliath, right? One of my favorite things, because I'm not, you know, Raul, you and I, we're about the same build. You know, you're a little taller than me, but we're scrappy, man. We are fighters, and you know, but we've been given a heart to lead. And one of my favorite stories is the story of Eliab in the Old Testament, which is David's brother. And to be a leader, a lot of times, and I'm dude, I'm learning this, because I've actually been I'm the guy behind the scenes, dude. I'm the guy behind the scenes getting my hands in the meatloaf, because I love promoting and helping others. But here's the thing. Eliab, when David came down from the mountain to fight Goliath, you know what he said? He said, David, you're my little brother. Why are you're supposed to be tending the sheep. Are you kidding me? You know, but he didn't fix his focus on Eliab. He actually turned, and it says he actually turned in the Old Testament. He turned and faced Goliath. He didn't shrink and be like, oh, my brothers don't believe in me, I'm not going to be great. Oh, you know, he doesn't believe in me, I'm not going to be great. And so right now, I think is a time that people are going to go through stuff. And I'm telling you, it is heavy. Optimism isn't just being positive and everything's lollipops and gumdrops. So optimism is actually understanding, just like what you said, there is darkness and there is greatness, and understanding the balance between both. Joy is understanding pain and happiness. Optimism is being optimistic, and yet you know it's going to be harder than freaking everything you've got. It's going to take everything you got to make it happen. That's where people are at. And that's where America is strong. That's where the entrepreneurship kicks in. And I know, I mean, we've got over historic job losses, but I've been through this. I have, you know, we had over 300 employees in 2008 when we had 0 leads for our whole entire company. And me and Ethan looked at each other and we're like, dude, are we going to shut down? Like, what are we going to do? Fear set in. I had 2 kids. I didn't have 6 kids then. But you know what? We looked at each other and we said, if we're waiting for the cavalry to come, they're not coming. We got to figure this out. And because we actually figured out the piece of our puzzle in our business that was missing, which was the lead gen and customer acquisition, we actually became self-sufficient and ended up having an awesome acquisition later. If we wouldn't have went through 2008 in the trials, we would not. That for me was a miracle, because we didn't have a way out. We didn't have the skill set. We didn't have the competency. So I'm saying right now, if you want God in your life, go increase your skill set and ask him what skill sets you want those to be.
Yeah, because I mean that's perfect setup, because what was going is that having faith is not enough. You have to take action with that faith. Like God is not waiting for you just to sit your ass, and he's not gonna bless you just by sitting your ass. He needs you to move your ass towards something. You don't have to have the weapons. You don't have to have everything. Look, David killed Goliath with a stone. Like right now, maybe you have a funnel. Maybe you have right now a message. Maybe you have only this. That's all you need. That's all you need. All you need is just for you to push forward and increase your capacity, but at the same time increase your faith, so God could work through you and create opportunities.
Dude, I know one of my favorite scriptures is Mark 10:27. You know, as I think about Easter, because the resurrection that happened is for us all to live, and keeping that eternal perspective. But that was a miracle. Like that is one of the greatest miracles of all time. The atonement, the resurrection. Like I believe that happened, and if it did happen, then that's the miracle that we all will live again. But this is what he said in Mark 10:27. He said, and Jesus looked unto them and said, with men it is impossible, but not with God. For with God, all things are possible. And that's why I'm saying, like, if you put God in your life, it's not always going to be easy, but he's going to make the impossible be possible.
And here's what I love about, like, today we're going to watch The Passion of Christ with the kids. All right.
Yeah.
And this is the first time they're actually going to watch it, because they're teenagers now. And I told them, I said, Jesus is an OG. I mean, this guy's a gangster. He's like the original gangster, because my favorite scene in that movie is when I think Pilate looks at him and says, you know, I have the power to deliver you right now. I have the power to free you right now. So whatever you tell me right now is going to determine whether you're free or you get crucified. And then Jesus looked at him and said, like, you don't have any power over me except for the power that I'm giving you. That was fucking gangster right there, man. It's like, shit, like you have no power over me unless the power that I'm giving you. And that right there, remember that scene and that scripture that through God, we have all the power that we need. Like all I need right now is coming through me. And even though I may not have the answers, I may not have the skills right now, I may not have the opportunities, God is going to make a way. All I need to do is get the fuck out of the way, allow God to work through me so I can see his purpose.
You know, I mean, dude, you are so awesome, Raul. Like, I'm just telling you, you are amazing and inspiring so many. And because of what you're going through now, you can be a window to God's love. And you can help other people understand that by God and through God, we can do much more as a whole entire nation. And even as your group, think of the light that can be shared and the things that can be accomplished because of what we're going through. And I always said, you know, faith includes trusting God's timing as well. And one of the things that I love about faith is that our eyes will be opened, which means like stuff that's right in front of us. Dude, crisis is a necessity, and it drives innovation. And innovation is like everything. If we recognize everything is for moving God's purpose forward, how do we actually train more? It's a miracle that you and I are right now talking about God on Instagram. You know, when this tool was created, Who knew that was going to be able to share the good news all over the world? That is what I'm talking about, the miracle and the mundane, that we're even having this conversation, and that, you know, hopefully a ton of people are listening to this, and it's uplifting them. So
yeah,
that's what I'm talking about. Our eyes will be open to the glory. Our eyes will be open to what we should do, but our eyes will be open of how God can work through us to help others.
We become the light. We become the light. And thank you, brother. I appreciate you jumping in with me. I want to respect your time. I know that you have a lot of stuff to do, man. So I appreciate you coming in and jumping in with me. And every single one of you guys who follow me, just follow Randy. He's one of those guys who just loves to give, loves to bring light into the world, man. So I appreciate your friendship. I appreciate the things that you're doing, brother. And I can't wait to take it to another level. After this coronavirus gets handled, you and I are going to get together, and you're going to speak at my leadership event. I'll see you.
Let's do it, buddy. Let's do it, bro. Bless you and your family, man. Let's keep giving it everything we got, dude. We got one life. Let's squeeze every drop of life out of it, bro.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you, man.
Okay. All right. See you, man.